You've been walking around with a quiet storm inside you, and now the sky in your life is splitting open. There's an invisible current moving through every detail of your reality, rearranging what you thought was fixed. What you're stepping into isn't a reward. It's recognition from the very fabric of existence, finally treating you like the force you've always been. The resources, connections, and openings you once had to chase are now moving toward you with a speed that feels almost unfair to anyone watching from the outside. The moment you decide you're no longer asking for permission, the silhouettes in your path reveal themselves for what they truly are: paper walls dressed up as mountains. The ones who thought you'd keep playing small are about to learn you've been sharpening edges they didn't even know you had. They didn't factor in that your patience was strategy, not weakness, and now they're watching the table tilt in your favor without a single move they can counter. A few days ago, something in you clicked, like a lock that had been rusted for years suddenly swinging open. The haze you once walked through dissolved in a breath, and a strange certainty took its place. That moment wasn't random. It was the signal you'd been waiting for since before you could name what you were becoming. Every delay, every setback, every weight tied to your ankles is being cut loose in sequence. And now you've mastered the one thing they can't defend against: the art of moving like you've already won. You didn't stumble here by accident. You were led. If something in your spirit is stirring, don't ignore it. Tap Join to access exclusive content, prophetic insights, and a community of purpose-driven souls. This isn't just a membership, it's your moment of alignment. Step into who you were born to be. Welcome to the Chosen. You've reached the point where you no longer adjust your stride for anyone trying to trip you. The ground beneath you feels different now, steady, unshakable, because every loose stone that could have made you stumble is being swept out of your path. People who once thrived on creating chaos in your life are quietly being erased from the scene, not by your hand, but by a force that refuses to let them keep playing in your storyline. It's not even about revenge. It's about alignment. Their exit doesn't sting anymore because your worth is no longer something they get to measure. You've stepped beyond the realm where their tactics work. The hooks they once used to pull you into their drama can't even reach you now. Your perception has sharpened into something almost supernatural. You can feel false intentions before a word is spoken, spot the fault lines in someone's character before they even make a move. It's not just that you read people well, it's that you've learned to read the pulse of reality itself, watching the patterns form before the outcome even arrives. The truth that's surfacing will make you rethink everything. The real reason they circled around you, even when they couldn't stand each other. They saw a scale of influence in you that you were too busy surviving to notice. That kind of presence bends people's actions whether they're for you or against you. The entire game they played was designed to make you forget what you've always carried: a natural authority over the spaces you enter. Now, the right connections, the right chances, the right alignments are closing in like the tide. Steady, unstoppable. The people who thought they could keep you dangling on false promises are watching you match with opportunities they'll never touch. The ones who vanished thinking they could reappear on their terms are realizing the door isn't just closed, it's been replaced by a wall. Every tactic they used to diminish you has ricocheted back on them, and the silence you've given them is louder than any answer they could have feared. If your heart overflows with God's blessings, let that love shine. Click the super thank you button and give $40 or more to plant seeds of faith that will impact countless lives. Your generosity reflects His abundance. Be a vessel of His grace and watch His kingdom flourish through you. Everything around you is sinking into harmony, and it's impossible for anyone watching not to notice. They're realizing too late that the balance you found isn't just in one corner of your life, it's woven through every part of it. The ones who once treated your presence as optional, who tried to keep you in a haze while quietly bringing chaos to your doorstep, are now staring at a reality where they can't undo the damage they caused. Their games, their mixed messages, their constant shifting of the truth have only cemented the distance between you. There was a time you held them in grace, even when they prodded at your patience, even when they worked in clusters to try and humiliate you. You stayed grounded in your spirit, holding a steady line of compassion while weathering their storms. But that chapter has closed. You're stepping into a season where your name opens doors, where your presence changes the temperature of every room, where your influence moves quietly but powerfully into places your critics can't reach. What they didn't expect was that their efforts to make you smaller would be the very thing that strengthened your core. Each plot they whispered about, each pact they formed, each staged attempt to undermine you only highlighted a truth they didn't want spoken, that your existence demands a reaction. And that reaction, whether born of admiration or resistance, proves your rarity. Now, a new circle is forming around you, one that doesn't just fill space but elevates it. These are people who arrive without pretense, who align effortlessly with your rhythm, who don't need convincing to believe in your vision. Some are reconnections born from genuine growth, but most are fresh arrivals, carrying an instinctive understanding of who you are. The bonds feel uncanny, almost like they were decided long before now. It's not just connection, it's recognition at the deepest level, where words aren't required and loyalty is simply understood. The kind of bonds forming around you now feel like they were carved out of truth itself, unshakable, clean, and without hidden conditions. These aren't people who need you to justify the choices you've made to protect your own peace. They don't ask you to reopen doors you've already locked. They understand why those locks exist. They aren't here to vanish when life turns heavy, to twist your words, or to punish you for setting boundaries. You've built an inner compass so refined that the usual tricks and guilt plays can't touch you anymore. What's even more striking is that these new connections aren't just here to stand beside you. They're carrying tools, insights, and pathways that blend seamlessly with what you're building. None of them arrived by accident. When your life is on the verge of widening in ways you can't yet measure, the right players step into the frame as if on cue, each one holding a piece that fits the larger design. The people you're drawing in now have a certain light to them, not a performative shine, but a steady brilliance that doesn't need to compete. Their laughter doesn't dim yours, their success doesn't threaten you, and their generosity isn't conditional. Every past encounter with manipulative or draining souls was a disguised lesson, shaping you into someone who can spot sincerity without hesitation. Those trials were never meant to break you. They were sharpening your ability to choose wisely. These new bonds will feel refreshingly light compared to the old weight you used to carry. Where once you had to monitor every interaction, explain every move, and brace yourself for disappointment, you'll now feel understood before you've even finished speaking. Instead of leaving conversations exhausted, you'll walk away charged with possibility. And while this shift is happening, the very people who tried to destabilize you are feeling a heat they can't name. Because what was meant to weaken you has become the fuel for your rise. The ones who once thrived on testing your patience are now forced to watch something they never prepared for. Your joy that can't be shaken, your circle that stands like stone around you, and your refusal to ever be pulled into their games again. They wanted the benefits of your presence while showing none of the respect you deserved, hoping to keep their real motives buried while quietly stirring unrest. But the veil is gone. You see their moves before they make them, their motives before they speak, and their desperation before they admit it. Some can't keep your name out of their mouths, venting to anyone willing to listen, rattled by the pace of your transformation. They can feel it. You've slipped from their grasp entirely. The restraints they counted on have fallen away, and you've stepped into a freedom that leaves them uneasy. No more sharing your time with restless souls who drain rather than inspire. Those with nothing but boredom to offer are being quietly removed from your orbit, and you're no longer entertaining those who feed on other people's energy to survive. The days ahead are already humming with promise. You're moving toward experiences that feed your ambition, spaces where your presence is valued instead of questioned. They're discovering something they didn't expect, that you aren't just finding success, you've become a force they can't sideline. The more you stand firm in your truth, the more reality bends to accommodate it. Their assumptions about your capacity are crumbling under the weight of your undeniable presence. And there's another shift already in motion, a flow of resources and opportunity heading straight toward you, arriving just as you've built the space to hold it. The timing is deliberate. Every step you've taken to reclaim your strength, every decision to stop bending to the noise, has triggered a chain reaction of precision moves falling into place. Where hesitation once slowed you, clarity now accelerates you. You've stopped seeking approval for your choices, and in doing so, you've placed yourself exactly where everything you've been waiting for can finally reach you. The stage you're in right now is the one where every quiet investment, every unseen effort, and every moment you kept moving despite exhaustion starts revealing its return. You're no longer speaking about potential, you're showing proof. And that proof is loud enough to reach even the ones who pretended they didn't hear you before. This is the phase where the courage to act boldly becomes second nature. Risks that would have paralyzed your old self now feel like calculated steps. You're operating with a clarity that makes deception impossible, because the moment someone's mask slips, you see their true expression for exactly what it is. Some will react to your boundaries like they've been robbed, throwing emotional fits, fabricating stories, and twisting narratives to make you look unreasonable. But you're unbothered, because you've finally accepted that protecting your peace will always expose the people who were invested in disturbing it. You've cut ties with the chronic excuse-makers, the ones who could turn the simplest task into a maze, the ones who believed their failures could be pinned on you. Their exit wasn't messy, it was surgical. And that's why it was so effective. The power move you made wasn't just about separation, it was about replacement. You didn't simply leave space. You filled it with people and opportunities that fit the person you've become. This is why everyone watching can see the night and day difference between then and now. Your current path has a precision that didn't exist before. Every choice feels like a piece of a much larger strategy, because you've stopped treating your life like a collection of random moments. You've started treating it like the masterpiece it is. The talk about your transformation has traveled further than you realize. People you've never met are speaking your name with respect, trying to decode how you made such a complete shift. The answer is simple. You stopped letting the wrong hands touch your plans. There's an audience now that's drawn to your light without you having to advertise it. They've heard enough to know you've mastered something rare, self-alignment that can't be bought, imitated, or forced. The ones who once studied you to find weaknesses are still studying you, but for a different reason. They want to know how you've created momentum that doesn't slow down, even when challenged. Your transformation has made you a reference point. People are quietly adjusting their own lives after seeing the standard you've set, even if they'll never admit it to you directly. You've become an example not just of resilience, but of intentional living. Proof that removing what doesn't serve you is just as powerful as adding what does. Your story is no longer just personal, it's instructional. People are observing not only what you did, but how you did it, and realizing they could apply the same principles. The attention you're receiving now operates on multiple channels. It's in whispers among strangers, in formal settings where your work is mentioned, and in opportunities being offered behind the scenes. Your discipline is finally being recognized as the rare commodity it is. In a world full of distraction, your ability to stay consistent is magnetic to those in positions of influence. This attention isn't about hype, it's about credibility. It's the recognition that comes when your results speak louder than your introductions ever could. The talents you've been carrying quietly are stepping into full view now. Leadership feels natural, influence feels earned, and your communication lands with impact instead of effort. You're embracing your mobility, mentally, emotionally, and physically, choosing environments and people that elevate rather than deplete you. The smoothness of this next chapter might feel strange at first, simply because you've been trained to anticipate resistance. But the absence of struggle is not a trap, it's the reward for years of preparation. You've stopped asking for permission to be exceptional. And in doing so, you've unlocked a rhythm that allows every aspect of your life to flow in sync. There's no longer a sense of chasing after what's meant for you. Instead, you're watching it arrive in alignment with your readiness to receive it. Your relationship with time has shifted. You've learned patience isn't about waiting. It's about knowing the right moment to act and the right moment to step aside. The luxury entering your life now isn't just about material comfort. It's about the freedom to choose without constraint, to say yes or no from a place of abundance. The people who resented your potential from the start can feel it solidifying now, and that discomfort they carry is confirmation that you're on the right path. Your foundation is unshakable because it was built in seasons where applause was absent. Every brick was placed through persistence, not popularity. And perhaps most importantly, you've learned that generosity is never wasted. Even when it wasn't reciprocated, it was recorded, and the returns are arriving multiplied. There's a presence about you now that cannot be rehearsed or imitated. It's the byproduct of living fully in your truth. The air feels different when you arrive. Conversations slow down when you open your mouth. Decisions fall into place the moment you make them. This isn't about ego. It's about stepping into the size of life you were always meant to occupy without trimming yourself to fit the comfort of smaller minds. Opportunities are multiplying because you've cleared the channels that once clogged your progress. Partnerships, endorsements, and offers are coming not from gimmicks, but from the reputation you've earned through consistency, skill, and authenticity. People in positions of influence are discussing your name in spaces you've never entered, mapping out ways to align with your momentum. What you've built is drawing the attention of those who have the resources to amplify it, not because you asked, but because your work has made you impossible to ignore. What's on the horizon is going to stretch you into bolder moves than you've made before. This might mean leaving behind the security of the familiar, restructuring everything you've known, or making a leap that would have terrified your former self. But now, the thought of staying still feels riskier than stepping forward. Every attempt to block you has collapsed under its own weight. The whispers, the schemes, the subtle attacks, all of it has been transmuted into momentum. Your path is guarded at a level that turns every interference into fuel. Those who tried to harm your trajectory are learning that every stone thrown your way is being used to build your next step higher. The envy that once aimed to slow you down has instead accelerated your rise. People who couldn't bear your natural shine are watching it grow brighter, unable to deny that you're gaining ground faster than ever. This next chapter will feel like a surge, so much forward motion that even those who've supported you will struggle to keep pace. Some will come back with apologies dressed as negotiations, with pleas wrapped in guilt. They'll try to re-enter your world by rewriting the past, but your vantage point has changed. Their noise is just background now, audible but irrelevant. Those meant to remain in your story will meet your energy with persistence, not convenience. They will show you through action that they recognize what you bring, and they will protect their seat at your table because they know it is not easily earned. The reality taking shape around you now is crafted with precision, every detail reflecting who you truly are and what you're here to do. It's not a life borrowed from someone else's blueprint. It's your own architecture, built to highlight your rare strengths and magnify your natural brilliance. Behind the scenes, something even more significant has been forming, quietly aligning itself with your path while you've been focused on visible wins. Your perspective has sharpened to the point where nothing can disguise itself as harmless if it threatens your growth. You're moving through your days with the decisiveness of someone who knows exactly what belongs and what doesn't. The shift people are noticing isn't fueled by rumor. It's driven by the undeniable evidence of your transformation, and the conversations about you are rooted in respect, not speculation. You are becoming the pivot point for an entirely new chapter, not only for yourself, but for everyone touched by your legacy. Your ability to shift generational narratives is inspiring people to seek your guidance, your mentorship, and your leadership. You've become the example of what's possible when someone refuses to inherit limitations and instead chooses to rewrite the rules. This stage of your life invites freedom on your terms. You can fill your days with whatever brings you alive, whether that's long stretches outdoors, hours creating something you love, or time spent fully present with the people who matter most. The constraints that once dictated your pace have dissolved, leaving space for joy to be a constant instead of an afterthought. Your energy now carries a quiet strength, an influence that doesn't shout but commands the room effortlessly. You're not chasing validation. You've become the opportunity others are hoping for. You are the turning point in the story, the unexpected change no one accounted for. And as you repeat that truth to yourself, it becomes less of a statement and more of a reality etched into the fabric of your being. The life unfolding around you now is redefining what fulfillment looks like. You're proving that lasting joy isn't something you chase, it's something you live every single moment by choosing alignment over approval. There's no waiting for the right time, no seeking validation from anyone who can't see your vision. You're shaping days that feel like a story worth rereading, surrounded by connections that feel effortless and genuine because they thrive on mutual respect rather than quiet envy. Every new chapter is being built on a foundation of experiences that truly honor you. The people you allow in now meet you at your highest point instead of dragging you down to match theirs. You're forging bonds that carry an unspoken understanding, where your wins are celebrated without competition, and your growth is supported without resistance. When you pour your heart into someone, something, or somewhere now, it's not just a good fit. It's a perfect reflection of the energy you've cultivated. You're no longer entertaining the idea of close enough when you know there's a deeper level of connection available. These are the alignments that feel natural because they're rooted in truth, not obligation. There's a rhythm to your life now that can't be manufactured. Things flow because you've stopped forcing them to fit an outdated mold. Your relationships, whether personal or professional, are unfolding without strain because they're fueled by mutual purpose. You don't have to constantly explain your intentions or prove your worth. They're understood from the start. The reality you're walking into is one where love, opportunity, and creativity meet you on equal ground. You're finally surrounded by the kind of people and projects that don't just coexist with your dreams, they amplify them. And in this space, the idea of happily ever after isn't an ending at all. It's the way you move through life every day. The moment you've been building toward is no longer on the horizon. It's here, and it's undeniable. Every battle you endured, every limit you shattered, has led to this exact point where all eyes are drawn to you without question. The stage is yours, not because it was handed over, but because you claimed it through resilience, skill, and an unshakable belief in your own worth. The air around you hums with anticipation, and even those who underestimated you are leaning in to see your next move. What once felt like a distant dream has transformed into a lived reality where the forces of creation itself move in step with you. The unseen support that carried you through the darkest moments is now actively co-building your future, aligning events, people, and resources with surgical precision. The illusions others tried to feed you have dissolved completely, replaced by a structure you've designed with deliberate intention. You're no longer walking through life as a participant in someone else's script. You're the one setting the tone, choosing the cast, and determining the plot twists. The freedom you've claimed isn't just about independence, it's about mastery. This is your realm now, shaped by choices that honor who you are and what you stand for. Every interaction you have now holds a new weight because people recognize that you're operating from a place of authority. They can sense that your moves are calculated not from fear, but from vision. And while many will attempt to align with your momentum, only those who bring value and integrity will find a place in your orbit. The next steps you take will not only define your personal legacy, they will inspire others to rewrite their own. You've become living proof that transformation doesn't just happen. It's forged through conviction, clarity, and courage. And from this point on, every spotlight you stand under will simply confirm what you've known all along. You were always meant to own the stage. What's unfolding now is more than a display of skill. It's a living demonstration of what happens when someone abandons every imposed limit and leans entirely into their true capacity. This isn't just a glow-up. It's a full-scale recalibration of what's possible when belief in yourself becomes the foundation for every move you make. They couldn't predict it, because their imagination for your potential was too small to hold what you were really capable of becoming. The discussion is no longer about whether you can handle what's coming. It's about whether the world is equipped to meet you at the level you're now operating on. Every setback you endured, every lesson you integrated, every boundary you built has shaped you into a force that can't be replicated. The outcome is no longer in question. Your arrival was inevitable. You've graduated from survival into mastery, and the stage is adjusting to fit the scale of your presence. The truth is, you've been the architect of this moment long before anyone else could recognize it. Every choice, every sacrifice, every pivot has been part of a design that only now reveals its brilliance. This is the reward for betting on yourself when no one else did, and for refusing to shrink just to keep others comfortable. You're moving like someone who knows the crown has always been yours, simply waiting for you to pick it up. Now, you're not seeking permission to expand. You're issuing the command for your life to meet your vision. You've stopped negotiating with doubt, stopped bargaining with fear, and stopped accepting watered-down versions of the life you know you're worthy of. The ones who underestimated you will have no choice but to remember the day they realized you were never playing their game. You were designing your own. This chapter marks the permanent shift from potential to embodiment. You're no longer promising what you might become. You are the evidence, the living proof, the undeniable result. And from this point on, every move you make will leave an imprint that no one can erase, because you've stepped fully into authorship over your destiny.